Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David and this is a deck review. Today we're going to look at the Alice of Wonderland decks that were put out by Stephen Watson of Turnstyle Design. This was a campaign deck that was released through Deck Starter. It was one of the last Deck Starter decks, most recent Deck Starter decks to be released. Just got it in the mail. It's really super cool. Like I said, they were designed by a gentleman named Stephen Watson. He's out at turnstylestudio.com if you want to check out more of his work. He's a really cool graphic designer. Kind of minimal, but I think with a modern, very upscale, very rich looking flair, I think. So definitely go down to Turnstyle Studio and check him out. These decks were both inspired by Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. At first you didn't understand how because, I think Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland is often associated with the graphics and the pictures that you see from the classic book. But of course, as an artist, why would Stephen then want to copy somebody else's artwork? What he did was he drew inspiration from Lewis Carroll's book and designed his own deck of cards using a really cool like Art Nouveau and Art Deco kind of feel to it. All right, so these decks were originally inspired by his 8-year-old son and his wife who were taking part in a class production of Alice in Wonderland, and because he was a graphic designer, he wanted to contribute something to the production. So he created this deck of cards, this custom deck of cards to promote the show, and it was seen in a whole bunch of places. He had posters printed, and it was even incorporated into some of the costumes that some of the actors wore. But the way these cards are inspired by Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, we'll get to that a little bit more when we look at the inside. This campaign was put out with 2 different versions of the decks. There was a Player's Edition. The Player's Edition is done in white and gold. There's a really uniform background on this, and the faces are all uniform as well. And this is more of a deck that's better suited for gameplay, magic, etc. This is the Cardistry Edition. Now the Cardistry Edition has black, gold, and white faces. So you not only have like some pretty designs and some color patterns from the back, but then you also have them from the front, which is not as always common with a regular deck of cards. So a cardist would like these because he's actually going to have some color on the faces as well. Now typically when there's 2 decks to look at, I usually pick one, but we're actually going to look at both. I'm going to give you a little sample of each one. All right, so the white tuck case, it says Turnstyle Production across the top, and it says Alice in Wonderland. There is a giant 54 right there in a little gold medallion. On this side it says this is nothing but a pack of cards, and that is actually a line that Alice gives in the book. On this side it says the most dangerous card in this deck is the Queen of. At the bottom there's some ad copy about Deck Starter, and the top says Curiouser and Curiouser, which is another quote from Alice in the Alice in Wonderland books. The back design of the tuck case is of course the back design of the cards, and it's all done in this gold foil. The gold foil is wrapped around all of this matte white deck, and it looks really cool. The tuck seal is also original, and as you can see, it's that same kind of graphic that you're going to see on the back design of the tuck case. Well, that is pretty much it for the tuck case. Let's take a look at these cards. These cards were, of course, printed by the United States Playing Card Company, and they are done on their retail stock. They do have air cushion embossing, and they do have a modern cut. If you'd like to learn more about stock, cut, or finish, you can click the link below in the description. The back design of the Player's Edition is done in gold and white. You can see it's just a bunch of frames and borders and like a grid pattern. You have a meticulously beautiful, lavish, like I said earlier, Art Nouveau, Art Deco look to the center of that. And you got that nice, thick, traditional border, which I think cardists and magicians both appreciate. With this deck, you're gonna get 2 jokers. They're almost identical. They're identical in graphic, but not color. One's a black J, and the other one is a gold J. And you can see up in the corner, it does say the word Joker. And then right underneath that, you almost can't see it, it says, "We're all mad here," which is a line from the Cheshire Cat, again from the Alice in Wonderland books. Your Ace of Spades is really simple. It's the black ace really big there with a letter A. It says Turnstyle Edition right there at the top, and at the bottom it says turnstylestudio.com at the bottom. The pips and Indicee cards in this deck are really cool. As you can see, each card has one single pip that has the gold foil accent, and each one of the cards has a unique pip layout. Now the court cards, they all feature a typographic royal look. So each one is just a K, a Q, or a J. And then there's the custom suit symbols as the crowns. The other cool thing is each one of the aces have an exploded pip in the center and a quote from the Lewis Carroll book. The Ace of Diamonds says nothing but a pack of cards. The Ace of Clubs says begin at the beginning. And the Ace of Hearts says Curiouser and Curiouser. You're going to get 2 extra cards with this deck. The first is a deck starter ad card, and the second is a Turnstyle Studio ad card. Well, these cards handle really well. They handle just like you'd expect a deck from Bicycle to handle. There is a fair amount of white on this deck, so it doesn't have a huge ink impact. So they do handle very smooth, and they do feel very fun to play with. Now, of course, the black Cardistry Edition tuck case is exactly the same as the white. The only difference, of course, instead of a white matte paper stock, you're getting a black matte paper stock. Everything's the same all the way down to the custom tuck seal. The back of the Cardistry Edition is done in black and gold. You still have that same pattern, but again, you have 2 different colors instead of just the one from the Player's Edition. On the faces of the cards, the clubs and the hearts are all the same as the Player's Edition. Now you can see the red cards are replaced with gold font, and so there's no red cards per se, but the real difference with the Cardistry Edition is going to be in the spades and diamonds. So here you see with the spades that the faces are all black. Each one of these cards has a black face. Now again, same back, white border, but a black face. And again, this was done so that when you're doing cardistry, you have these colors that flash from both sides. And here's the diamonds. You can see the faces here are this muted gold, which looks really pretty. And you can imagine if half the deck has a black and gold face and the other half is all white, then you have an even number of cards that have a color and have a white. So if you think about it, when you put them into a spread, if they were evenly shuffled, they should go black, gold, white, black, gold, white, black, gold, white, black, gold, white, which is really a cool look. The kind of interesting thing about the Cardistry Edition is the fact that you have this 2-tone look. And when I have both the colored faces together on half the deck, you can literally see it right down the middle, which cards have more ink, right? So you think about this deck, it's gonna handle a little unevenly because your cards that have color on the face, they're going to be just a microcosm of a sliver of a slash of a millimeter of a microbe thicker than your white cards due to the fact that there's way more ink on half your deck than the other half. But I have no idea if that will make any difference at all. I don't do cardistry, so I would have to ask my Cardicians out there if they think this makes a difference. Well, that is it for this deck review. As always, we recommend that you like this video just so other people can find it faster. We also recommend that you subscribe to this channel just to stay up to date on the latest in cards and card magic. Now, if you want to follow me on social media, you can. I'm at facebook.com/magicorthodoxy, twitter.com/magicorthodoxy, and instagram.com/magicorthodoxy.